On the economical part of it, of course, the crisis has unfortunately led to some negative implication. The most important one is the severe downgrade of the country's rating. The country was rated A, it is now triple B. So like from A minus, like 2 notches down. And that has happened very quickly. For any country to try to lift up the rating, it needs months or probably years sometimes. I think the rating was, of course, apart from the fact that the rating was somehow done unrealistically on a fast way based on I would say, not 100% a true picture. But we have to live with that. This is a very negative implication, which will mean raising the cost for borrowing for the country as well as the banks operating in the country. So basically increasing the cost for us as a bank, which will mean higher cost for on our lending. And of course, the whole cycle will just lead into more burden on the clients and banks, borrowers, and what have you. This is one of the most important implications that has happened to the economy. The other, of course, you know, the country was almost have come to halt in terms of business, all sectors, especially the retail sector, like hotel industry, car rental industry. They have had almost a stoppage of all their business during the 2 months of February and March. And that has led to sort of severe cash flow problems for them. This will definitely be reflected in their ability to honor their obligation to their lenders. One more negative implication is that this whole thing has led to dismissal of, I would not say at large scale, but at good scales from many large private or public institutions in the country. Many people have been dismissed. Those people are clients of banks. Those people have consumer loans from banks. They will find it difficult to repay. What will that mean? It means that it will lead to more difficult portfolio, loan portfolio, and it may lead into higher non-performing loans, which means that banks will have to provide for and basically put a drain on their profitability.
Yes.
Having said all this, I am pleased, however, on the other side, that we now, the government, the regime, knows very well the problems of the country. Of course, they knew it from before, but it is now more apparent. And they will, in their planning for the future, they will definitely take the needs of the population into consideration. We know our problems, we can handle them better. And I think the country will definitely become much stronger in the future. We will know where to direct our investment, we'll know where to direct our public spending, and hopefully the country will have a better plan to emerge the country in a much stronger way. There will be short-term implications for sure. Those what I have mentioned are all short-term implications, but in the longer run, I think the country will be much stronger. The country will be able to manage and plan in a much better way. Having said all this, however, also there were positive signs of the confidence in the country during even the peak of the crisis. To give you examples, for instance, the liquidity has never suffered in Bahrain. The liquidity of all banks in Bahrain have been very strong, even during the peak of the crisis. It's a phenomenon nowadays in the commercial banking. I can talk about BBK, but I am also aware in my capacity as the chairman of the Bahrain Association of Banks that most of the commercial banks are suffering from high liquidity. A pleasant thing to be in a situation like this. And the reason is that the customer are still confident of the banking sector. They keep their money in the banks. And what is more pleasant is also that a huge amount of this liquidity has come from outside Bahrain, from neighboring countries like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, and other places. So this really cements the confidence of the Bahrain banking system. The high regard that the CBB is held at, and that was a very positive phenomena to notice during a difficult time like this. The bank's performance have been good during the first quarter. Most of the banks have, all of the banks have by now published their results, and most of the banks have shown growth over last year, or showed strong level of profitability, even maybe at lower numbers compared to similar period of last year, but they are good given the circumstances. Now, will the banks continue to operate that strongly in the coming 3 quarters of the year? I have my doubts. I think we will be under more pressure a little bit in terms of the need for higher provisions to take care of the difficult clients, be it consumer or corporate in Bahrain. So I think that banks will have to set aside a little bit more provisions in the coming quarters, but not to the extent that it will drain their liquidity to a very sort of undesired levels. I think still banks will be able to operate very well and to perform up to acceptable levels, I would say.